So he let me realize that I was 16. I will be one of the youngest guy who became professional in that time, and that was, I must be a talent. I still didn't believe it, but the more he told me that I'm a talent guy and I'm gonna win from these guys in the top 10 rankings, including Roman Dekkers, then I went to the dressing room. I'm still happy. Still full of adrenaline, so happy, so full of excitement, and I gave everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So there was so much happiness, wow. And then Andre, he was like, taking me on the shoulder, Andy, go sit down. We need to fight Buakaw. Buakaw just won.
Oh.
Oh, fuck me,
Oh, man.
Zulucast. Talk.
Χορηγός του επεισοδίου είναι το Πανεπιστήμιο Νεάπολης Πάφου.
Realize that many people have some brain damages and problems. Like I also checked myself last year with a body scan, and they noticed that I have also a hole on the right side. You know, so
a hole?
Yeah, just a little hole. They said, you know, so it was not a spot.
Yeah,
it was just a little hole.
Okay.
So I was like, shit, man. Oh no! But I think so far so good, because I really, of course, when I was a small kid, I forgot names and things like that. But it's just more the person that I am, instead of damaging.
Yeah.
You know, so and I took a lot of damage, of course, you know. But like I said, I'm meeting a lot of former fighters lately, and they all have their problems.
They do, man, because you know it's super obvious if you work, especially with 16 ounce gloves or 14 all the time, and you're like somebody's punching you in the head, or either it's a sparring or just a game regular, you know, all those things through the years, you know, it might affect your whole system,
your brain system, and your nerve system, eventually in your body. You know, brain and body is connected to each other. But that's being said, you know, in the past, people in Holland, especially in Holland, are complaining right now that the kids can't hit each other on the faces anymore. So many people are saying, it's going to be a default of our future champs, because when they are 18, they are allowed to punch on the head, you know, and before that they can't anymore.
Yeah.
Somehow they are right, because you know, they are not experienced with getting punched in the face. On the other hand, you know, when I started kickboxing when I was 7, we were punching each other on the faces, on the heads, you know, and kicking. I think that's not good. When the brain is just in the development and it needs to grow, it's not a good thing to get punched in the face 4 or 5 times a week. Of
course. I think, you know, the teachers in the coaches in the you know, in each school, let's say, you know, they need to help the kids. If they want to do a sparring, it has to be a very light sparring, and not like punching with the whole, you know, using the 100% of your power. Because especially for kids when they develop, it's very dangerous. And also for fighters, you know, a fighter cannot fight every week 100%.
That's what I think too, you know. That's why MMA and boxing are way ahead comparing to kickboxing. You know, kickboxers like my fight over there next to our spot where we are. You know, when I was young, I fought like 10 times a year. Nowadays, a decade ago, you know, you could fight every weekend. And there were events in Holland, multiple events from the north to the south. And you know what? Holland is a small country. So from north to south, it's like 3.5 hours. From west to east, it's like 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
You know, and there were many events. So you could participate everywhere, every show, every event you could fight. So in a way of experience, it was good, you know, but to get punched for real with all the stress, you know, in the brain and getting hurt on the brain, that's
Yeah.
the tough part, I think. And like you said about coaches, in the past, the coaches just wanted to develop fighters. And they didn't care about mental and body health, It was just, you need to be tough.
Yeah.
Especially in Holland, It was, I'm not sure because I'm just experienced in Holland by the trainers of then. It was just only oes, going hard. And that was the main goal. Going hard, don't complain, and fight hard and be the best fighter of the gym.
Yeah.
So they are also, their ego was
Sky high.
sky high for them. So when they have a lot of fighters, they are the man. And somehow I understand. And on the other hand, nowadays with all the knowledge we have, I think it's a good thing to think or being more aware of the damage we do to each other.
Yeah.
And that's what you're just saying. They are more aware now. The coaches, they are more strict, and not everybody, of course, but in general, they are getting better right now. Don't spar too hard, especially in MMA. You see it, the flow, the light sparring, the flowing things. Just hitting each other on a light way, open hands, half open hands. What I already did, what I already learned like 20 years ago, my former boxing club, they called it at the time Cubanic sparring. The Cubanic boxers.
Of course.
They're doing a lot. They are fast, moving a lot, so dynamic. And comparing to the rest, like maybe the Mexicans in boxing, they are throwing so many punches, But all light. The Mexicans are just trying to hit hard. Their endurance so big, their style, but in general, and the Cubanic was just like punching,
Yeah.
So on one hand, you could say. So you're not vulnerable. You're vulnerable for hard punches. When you get hard punches, you don't can defend it well or take it well.
Yeah.
And on the other side, your endurance, is so big. Your stamina goes high because when you're sparring a lot on a high tempo and with a lot of fast hands, without hurting each other, you go deep because you constantly can punch because you won't get hurt. So when you get hit, you can come back, fast, and that constantly, that makes you really, really tight. I also use it in my own gym, Cubanic sparring.
Yeah.
So it's safe, like 80-90% safe, and at the same time your stamina goes sky high again. Yeah. So that's a good way of sparring.
So they use like 60% of the strength, maybe.
Yeah, people say speed is power.
Speed is power, yeah.
But if you're in control on a certain level, everybody is in control, right? If you're developed as a fighter, especially as a professional, it has to be into your system to spar light, but fast.
Yeah.
And if you're fast, that's also good for your reflections and things like that. So that's a good way and a good option next to the real hard sparring.
And of course, it doesn't make the guy who's training, it doesn't gives him any hard emotions. Like, I'm afraid I have to spar again, I have to fight again, I have to do this again. So it takes off your passion. But if it's enjoyable, because I'll tell you this, I mean, I'm sure you know this better than me, but when you play football or basketball or any other
Team sports.
Yeah, you enjoy it. It's really hard to ask yourself inside of you, do I really enjoy this, to become a punching bag for this guy, or does this have to be every day? Who am I fooling here? Do I really enjoy this? Is this my passion?
That's the main question I asked myself from the beginning. I started doing kickboxing, just because, what I'm doing,
Yeah.
So I was always, I was always playing football and kickboxing. So 7 days a week I was training.
Combine the two.
Combining, that's the word I was seeking for. It was like Monday playing soccer, Tuesday kickboxing, Wednesday soccer, Thursday kickboxing, probably Friday too, because I just trained twice a week doing football. I was always like, oh yes, tonight I can play football again. So I was really happy with it. The day of or even after the training, I said, okay, tomorrow, next day, oh shit, tomorrow I need to go to the gym for kickboxing again. It's so self-destructive somehow because, if you don't like it and you go to the gym, like, oh man, I need to get punched in the face again and I need to hurt a guy too.
Yeah.
Or hurting my friend, because when you're young,
Everyone's your friend over there.
somehow or somehow not, because what I've noticed, when I look back, there was already an ego when I was 7 and 8 years old. Man, I need to win from Ali. I need to win from William. Oh, these are the names I remember from the past. Because, and in my opinion, they were all better than me. So I need to fight for my life. And that stress killed me every time. That's what I don't like this. I don't like this. A year later, when I started doing competition and fighting for it, I always thought, man, shit, I need to fight. I was locking myself up in the toilet and thinking about, should it be okay to finish my shit or doing a pee, going out and telling my coach and my dad, especially my dad, because he had a big influence, to say that I will quit. I will not fighting today. That was the question I was asking myself. And I said, okay, maybe I'm going to do it. So when I opened the door, immediately it was like, oh shit, the pressure from the dressing room, the smell, the other fighters, the young kids, the trainers, the coaches, the sounds and the noise of the pads who are boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I said, no shit, man. Then I'm really pussy if I don't do this. What should people think about me? What should my dad think about me? So that was a thing, So to answer, but to follow up your story, that was really individual, and it was really,
But what was the motivation, drive that changed your thought after that? And you said, you know what? Fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. What was the?
It's never been a real thing from me inside. It was always my dad, and even though he fell away, he became sick when I was 18. He got 3 big strokes in 14 to 16 months or something, and the last one was a really heavy one. So he became into a wheelchair, and he went to a hospital, and so he left my life. And even though I had a choice at that moment to say, hey, I'm gonna quit this job. Because it was already my job, by the way. Because when I became 16, I became professional. So when I was 18, I was really full of fighting in the A class. We call it in Holland, A class, the professional league. And I was already fighting the best of the world in a certain organization, WPKL, World Professional Kickboxing League. And in that time, there were all the top level fighters. Even Thai fighters were there, the strongest of Thailand. And they were fighting the Dutch guys, and like Ramon Dekker were in the, all these guys were already in, And I just
Peter Aerts.
Peter Aerts was already, he was fighting K1. So comparing to that organization, WPKL, he wasn't. I'm not sure, because I was too young to realize who were in the heavyweights. Probably they were in their league, in their rankings, because they had an own magazine, their own ranking, own events. So I was already there. I came in like I was 17 or 18. I came into the ranks of number 10, and wow, man, this is not, even though I should have of being happy of it, and I realized that I'm a big fighter, I'm a big talent. Let's say that instead of a fighter yet. I was always thinking, I'm just so lucky. All my youth fights until I fought until my 15, 16 in youth, but also 14 I already overseas and went to England for a B-class fight, semi-pro fight. Against adult guys, but I hear a lot of people talking about their past nowadays. I don't want to sound emotional or something. But it's my a little story. But I don't want to
Well, it
bring
is what it is.
too much. Everybody does nowadays.
Of
So
course.
I don't like to be everybody.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. That's what I always standing for. I don't like to be anyone else. You know, the same story as the other one, and everybody has his own story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I won all my fights when I was a young guy. You know, but I was always thinking, man, I was lucky. Or the ref, he didn't see it well, or the judges didn't see it well, or just they I think maybe I'm just a nice guy and they just have give me a little advantage of it, you know. They just let me win. And when I saw my fights on videotapes, it was like, shit, man, I'm so bad, man. Oh, my opponent he was so weak this time, you know. I was so lucky again, you know. And I always think, man, it has to be better, because this one wasn't good. I saw somebody knocking somebody out, you know. I wanted to do that also. So that's good, you know, to learn from other fighters and other
Get inspirations.
Yeah, but I was always seeing the things that was weak, you know. My strongest points I didn't see. I was a stamina guy. I had a good stamina. I was fast. I was pressuring a lot as a kid, you know, and you know, it's a normal thing because you're out of stress, and we like with our heartbeat as a young kid, you know, we want to be really fast.
Testosterone is on the roof.
Yeah, on the roof.
Yeah.
It's coming. So I always doubting myself, you know. So that's what I think. Somehow, if people say, "What was your strongest point?" Yeah, doubting myself.
Low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem, just to get the guy who I wanted to be, you know, a big guy, a champion, and a household name in the martial arts world. And like a young kid, like a lot of fighters also, they wanted to be. In my case, I wanted to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, you know, in Kickboxing 1. I wanted to be that Buakaw, you know, the white warrior, you know, and somehow 10, 15 years later, I became that guy, and I forgot that momentum. That I was, maybe multiple times I watched it, 100 times maybe, you know, the Kickboxing 1. I was so crazy, full of energy, jumping, kicking my dad, my mother, jumping from couch to couch, and just full of energy. And when I became champion, I just forgot the momentum. That as a young kid, I had a dream to be that guy. And then at Buakaw, and 15 years later, I'm there in Asia, and I became world champion. How in the hell I could forget? I was just low self-esteem, not aware of everything.
Isn't this amazing that you imagine something? You imagine so much, so strong. You had that feeling, that dream, and then it happened. Like through the years, that thing became alive. Like it's amazing. Like if this is not a great story, man, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. And I just realized that that was the momentums that I unfortunately couldn't enjoy it because I forgot that momentum. But now, you know, I'm old. I quit it, and you know, I'm so happy with it that
you already completed.
Yeah, it was like I was in a dark room. I just fighting, and people said, "You need to fight. You need to win. You need to fight this guy." And we go to that, and you know, everybody pushed me, you know, and I just was like I told you before, like kind of samurai, you know.
Yeah.
And the emperor said, "You go, you're gonna fight. Make war. We make war.
Yeah.
I will be your leader. I will be your top leader. I will prove that I'm the strongest samurai."
When you enter the what was the name, Lingho gym at the age of 7, okay, and you didn't know anything about kickboxing. I mean, just the basics. And the years they go by, and at the age maybe of 14 or 15, you realize that I can do something. I can have a good fight, or maybe an okay fight for that time. Who was your inspirations? Like, except your father, who was like always next to you, like the voice of like, you know, you have to do it, you have to do it. Who, as a fighter, who inspired you?
To be honest, yeah. For example, my coach, my trainer at the time, John DeLing from Lingho Gym. He of course, he was a big example too, because he was trying to let me understand and believe in myself that I could fight adult guys, even though I was 13, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
So he let me realize that I was 16. I will be one of the youngest guy who became professional in that time, and that was, I must be a talent. I still didn't believe it, but the more he told me that I'm a talent guy and I'm gonna win from these guys in the top 10 rankings, including Roman Dekkers.
Yeah.
While we just meeting Roman Dekkers, while we made a picture together, I was just a little kid, at the time, and I said, Roman Dekkers, you need to be like him. Everybody sees the new Roman Dekkers in you. Everybody sees that you have it has his style. Eventually it became a different style because I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I was trying to be him, of course, and one of the other fighters, top level fighters in our gym, because we had really top level fighters, by the way. Lingo Gym had, probably you don't know, like Errol Paros. He was a heavyweight. He, unfortunately, he died. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
He fought like Remy Bianski. I thought he won an 8-man tournament. A qualification to go to Japan for the heavyweights. He won from big guys. He was one of our team members. We had Albert Kraus, the champion of 2002, the first edition of the K1 Max. He won. And my former training spot, but also my former opponent. He was. We had some Moroccan guys. They were so strong and so fast and slick. We had Muscle Dominic. He was the oldest one and the most talented one, but he was a little bit too old eventually afterwards, and he took a lot of damage in his fights in that time, but he was a little bit too old to get on the floor, because when I just became 16, then K1 started also with K1 was already there. It wasn't a household name, but the kickboxing league was really heavy, really strong, and it was almost a little bit too old. But he was the top leader, of course, and I took him as my only example in the time. And of course, John, my coach, was a big example, The only thing I wanted to do, just to feel them great, and that I was a talent. That's what they're saying, but I didn't felt it, but I just did it just to let them feel great, I just fighting. I was just a warrior,
Yeah. So you were a student of the game, and your teacher, your coach, was feeding you in confidence. He was trying to push you to become much better. Like it's a good story of Mike Tyson and Kaz D'Amato, his coach, that he was feeding him all the time. Like, I mean, the guy was like 13 years old and he was a beast. Like he had so much power inside of his arms, but he was
a bit out of control, huh?
Bit out of control, and he was lacking of confidence. He couldn't believe that. And when Kaz D'Amato saw him, was like, "You're gonna become the number one heavyweight champion of the world, the youngest actually."
Yeah.
And the guy was, Tyson was like, "What? Who, me? I just came from Brooklyn. I was a thief."
Yeah.
So, and the other part, what I understand is that you went to a gym that the level was here. You're just trying to catch it, and that made you much better, faster.
100%. Yeah.
Not
knowing it, not realizing.
Not
it,
realizing.
but I had to, because the ego was already there. I wanted to be best. I don't want to get punched in the face too hard, or I didn't want to lose. I don't want to. It's like the natural thing inside of our body, like the animals do in their world. They just want to be the biggest monkey. They want to be the strongest lion. They want to be the pack leader.
The king of the jungle.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to be. That's the only thing, because then I should be a real man. So that's how it went.
Yeah. So at the age of maybe 17, 18, before you went to Japan, what was the I mean, I know your advantages, and you mentioned them before, like speed and messing up with the other opponent, and of course the low kicks, good body shot, the left body shot, and the left hook was amazing. But what was the disadvantages that you wanted to fix? Like, what did you saw that time? You said, I need to become better in this. Like, for example, defense or stamina.
A good example. Maybe since then my style changed a bit. The moment that I fought my first fight in K1, it's not 17, 18, because you're asking me when I was at the age of 17, 18. I already fought big names, big guys in that time, like Najim Itolali, Stefan Fechelik, and these guys I both lost from them when as a teenager, and they were big adults, big names.
Yeah.
And I lost on knockout from Stefan Fechelik, and he was 16, and he was a knockout specialist. He was dry, skinny, tall. To be honest, he was an ugly fighter, but he had such a great dry punch, and everybody felt it. And I was going so hard with my low hands, and that was a bit of normal. Everybody in our gym, I just told you my biggest example, Marcel, he was also a little bit of high, but he took a lot of damage, So our defense was pretty weak. Our boxing style was good. The level changes also, he implemented it already, my coach is John Deling, to combine a lot of things and using Logis and body shots.
Yeah.
So that's him. That's my system is because of him. He trained it well and he understand it well. So 17, 18 years old, I was already fighting big names, lost a couple of times, two or three times in 10 or 12 fights. And then I already went to Japan. And so I went to Japan, and I didn't came into Japan for the K1. I did it shoot boxing.
Yeah.
It was with the long pants. Eventually, it was my image that I was wearing a long pants like a Power Ranger. But it was that organization that was wearing these long trousers, long pants. And I wear it because just out of respect, and they were helping me to get into K1. But I went to Japan because Albert was fighting for us, training with us, but he left us before he went to K1 Max. Eventually, he won the K1 Max in 2002 without our team, with our coach, John Deling. The reason why, it doesn't matter, but somehow he was right. Eventually, I went away also because one of that reasons. But I wanted to go to Japan too because Albert left us. He won the K1 Max, and K1 Max was big. I just realized when he won it that it was just a big show with amazing people, amazing environment, amazing sounds, visuals, fights, everything was it was the Mecca. Japan was the Mecca.
Huge
the Mecca
that time. Pride was over there.
It was already
K1,
everything. Dream eventually also, and I said, man, I wanted to. And then John, the former coach, he said, hey, Andy, you want to fight in Japan? I said, of course. I just got a call. I just came from a call, and they asked you if you wanted to fight in Japan. I said, yes, this is going to be my opportunity. K1. I can go to K1.
Shoot me in, man.
Yeah, man. And he said, oh, Andy, I don't want to disappoint you, but it's not K1, but it's shoot boxing. I don't care. Yeah. No shoot boxing. I do. He said, oh, wait. Shoot boxing is a little bit different. Don't go too hard. I said, okay, tell me what is it all about? It's just kickboxing, he says, but also you can throw. You can use any judo throw. You can make standing submissions, rear naked chokes, all stand up. It's like MMA, only stand up.
Like a guillotine, or
it sounded difficult. What is it? And UFC in the time wasn't that big yet. The Pride, it was big, but only for the certain people. So I said, okay, I don't care. I just want to go to Japan. I only can box. I only can kick. He said, let's train us and let's do some judo throw. In that time, we were already a little bit of separating each other because I was 18, and I was a teenager, and I thought I was a big man, and I just became arrogant, but I was like just like this, not every teenager does it, but I was like, our relation was really strong, but it was more funny. More funny. Before that, I really was like, but it's just because it was my age, is the way I lived, on the street, I was a bit tough guy.
Maybe some ego.
Yeah.
Was,
also, and yeah, and our relation was like, you know what? I don't want to train the throws. Yeah, you tell me, but I don't do it. You understand? So that was our relation. And he said, okay, then we don't do it. Okay, now that's not a good thing, I think. But so we went to Japan eventually.
Yeah.
To make a long story short, I won that tournament. It was shoot boxing tournament. It was tough because in the first, especially in the final, I got a bit of lucky because I got thrown many times by a Chinese Sanda fighter. And I never experienced a Sanda fighter. I never had seen a Sanda fighter. So I was like, what the fuck is going to happen to me? You know, the guy was standing a little bit more with left shoulder in the front, and he was pointing with his toes to the other side, like a boxing standing, what he does. And then he came just with his side kicks. But from a full distance, so a big distance, like 2.5, 3 meters away from me, he was hitting me. Whoa, the side kick. What the fuck? How I gonna manage this distance? What the fuck? And then was the ego. I said, okay, let's fight. I don't want to think of it anymore. I just want to fight. I need to pressure him. Of course, the corner was just shouting. It was not coaching anymore. It was just shouting. Yeah. Go in front. Go and hit him on his body. Go to this liver. Low kick. And that was also when I realized, okay, my coach he can't help me anymore to get me better. But eventually, in the next round, I won the final of the Chinese guy, you know, and I just became shoot boxing champion. After that, they gave me 3 opponents afterwards with a kind of contract, you know, and afterwards they told me, you know, we were just trying to get rid of you and to get your ass kicked. And so I got 3 Japanese fighters of them, one of their best fighters, and I also won from them. And then they start to realize, okay, maybe this kid we can use in the future. Yeah. So at that point, I was also thinking, hey, shit, still my dream right now is to go into K1 Max. So I told Kaicho, the boss in our organization of shoot boxing, Mr. Caesar, I said, please help me to go into the K1. Help me, please. So, like I said, long story short, I went to K1 Max. I got my first fight against Albert Kraus, my former training partner, my former rival in the gym, by the way, because we had the same weight class, you know. Yeah. We were hitting each other hard. And to be honest, most of all, he was way stronger than me also. But in that fight, you could really see how vulnerable I was in my defense, you know. My hands down. Yeah. Of course, I needed to fight him, and he was more a tough guy, and I was more shy, you know, and I had the respect for him, and you could see that in the fight. Defense low, mentally not strong enough, not stronger than him, you know, and he kicked my ass so hard. He
won the game before the fight.
That year before in 2002.
Yeah, but he won the fight before you guys entered.
Yeah.
Psychology effect.
Yeah, psychology. You know, I was just a little boy, shy guy, and acting tough on the streets while I wasn't that. And he was a guy. How do you call it? A pikey? Hoe noem je van het kamp? Traveler. A traveler. You know, they're tough guys already from the beginning. Yeah. In the DNA, they have to fight all their life. You know, for ages. You know, so he was a tough guy, a little bit older than me, like 2.5 years older or something, you know. And he was a tough guy, and he was already a man. I was still a boy. You see it in the body also physically. You could see he was already muscled up and a good boxer, you know. And he kicked my ass so much. Then I realized, coming back to the story, your question is, I realized, shit, man, I needed to do something different now because I'm so vulnerable. I got already lost twice after my undefeated youth period. Yeah. You know, since I became pro, I had 2 losses against Najim and Facialik, and one is a heavy knockout. One I got cut, but I got really mishandled a bit, you know. And now Howard also. He manhandled me so much, so I said something needs to change. So I went to a boxing gym, you know, to clear up my defense and boxing skills.
In Japan?
No, in Holland.
In Holland.
In Holland, the best gym, best teacher, the best coach
Uh-huh.
also, but not. I've eventually not the best human being, in my opinion, in a way of treating each other. So I've been there for 12 years, and then I left it because we had an argument.
Uh-huh.
I went back after 5-6 years, and I went better and better again after that, and then we came in and argue again, and then we separated. But that man helped me. If you're talking about how smart I was, he's like 40% of my smartness in the fight game. My fight IQ is because of him, like 40, maybe even 15%.
What did you remember? Like the most important thing that he gave you?
That guy.
Yeah.
Oh, so many things. It's not one particular thing, I think, but especially tactically, and that comes back into positioning, fight stance, reading, body language, momentums, timing. But on the other side, momentums I got teach by Andre Manat. So when I realized something needed to change after my fight against Albert, I just for a short period, maybe a year or so, I continued training with John Deling, and then I no. I even won the 2005 K1 Max Championship with my coach John Deling and his brother.
I think in 2005
5.
you finished the contract.
Exactly with that the former trainer John Deling and his brother Daddy Deling. And then I left, but I was already boxing in that time with the Ron Rovers. Eventually, after the championship, I realized that our energy is done. Yeah, we don't fit to each other anymore. We don't connect each other. We just separated.
Mm-hmm.
In my brain, I was overwhelming him, with knowledge, but also with behavior, but it was just a bit of my fault. But on the other side, it was also his losses in a few things. So then I went for a kickboxing because I boxed with the other guy, with the other coach, but that wasn't kickboxing. So I needed to have a new kickboxing trainer, and then I realized, shit, man, who is gonna motivate me? Who is gonna fit to me? And then I realized, oh shit, I'm so shy. And at that time, I got a new manager, because in the past John did everything, the training, the managing, nutrition, but a lot of things. So that was the thing too. He wanted to be everything, while he hadn't the knowledge for it. But yeah, besides that, Eddie Coutinho became my manager, and he was a friend, a training partner, but also a manager of a different sector of things. He was working with youth and blah blah blah, but he was a manager of that company. And I said, I wanted to ask a few things, and that's how we started. And he said, then you also need a new trainer. Where do we gonna see? So we named a few gyms in Holland, and it was nothing. And he said, maybe Masato gym, And then I realized, hey, damn, we ever trained at Masato gym years ago with John Deling, with my first trainer. I said, okay, let's give it a try over there. So we went to Amsterdam. So a little bit more than 1 hour. In that time you could drive an hour, because now the highway is full of cameras. So in that time we could go with a high speed. We go to Amsterdam. So I trained over there, and you know what? It's my first outside training after my former gym. I'm gonna stay here, But also Andre, he was a tough guy and a hard-nailed guy, from Japan spiritually, and he fought in Japan, and he already trained with and coached and trained. Not only trained by teaching, but also trained in the past with Rob Kama, big names like Rob Kama, Mila Goebli, André Brilleman. In that time, it was a big gym of big names. And Raymond Bianski, Peter Aas, Bob Schreiber, Rodney Faveres. He already trained these guys.
Huge names, man.
Big
huge names.
Really huge names. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stick to here. And it was in a way of training methods, it wasn't that difficult, but it became difficult because he was so detailed in everything. So even turning a little my big toe, when it didn't make the movement he wanted to see, then I had a big problem. So I drove eventually in total, so back and forth to go back to for more than 2 hours, because when you go to in Amsterdam, at his gym, you are not only on the highway for an hour, but you're at least 30 minutes at the canals part, you know? It's a really slow drive. A lot of traffic, a lot of people who are serving in the restaurants and with drinks and trucks, you know. So I was always too late. Because when I should have left earlier from home, there was always traffic problems because I train in the morning over there.
It happens to me in Athens. I want to go somewhere, I have 30 minutes, it takes an hour and something.
Exactly.
And I get mad to go late. I don't mind if you're late, but for me, for myself, I don't, I say this to my wife all the time. I don't like to be late, man. It's like I show disrespect to the other person. I don't care if I have to wait for 30 minutes for the other person. It's okay. But, you know, for me, I don't feel good. It gets me mad, you know.
You're still not in harmony with that? If you're living in Athens, you have to. So I was in harmony with that. You know, I knew it. I only was a bit afraid when I came into the gym how his reaction was. Again, too late, or whatever. It was always negative. And then we trained hard, so I was like, I didn't spend many words in the gym. Never. After my first training, in the beginning also not, but after I became a tough guy. A little bit in my brain, a little bit. I was playing around, just playing, having fun. Not tough guy in a way of I'm the boss here, I'm the man here. No, not at all. I was just making jokes.
Earn the respect and everything.
Yeah, but after with the boxing club, Andre Marat, I was not speaking a lot of words. I just did it like the samurai would do. You know.
Yeah.
Give me the order, I will follow up. So. So that since then I trained with Andre for 8 years, and he made me also really intelligent. He made me really seeing things, but also in details, little things, momentums. And to be honest, my style was using a lot of speed, fast hands, and he held me back in that somehow. But I had an assistant. Or he had an assistant, and I got him for free because he was trying to. He saw that, I was a little bit different. He was changing my style a bit to buy 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 combinations, and he was trying to get me motivated and training with me with longer combinations, fast hands, and so I could combine it a bit. Eventually, I was done with Andre also. I couldn't follow up his way of treating also. It was only hard. I was so tired of it, But to be honest, I made the best performances with him. Yeah. With the boxing training also, and with Andre, they were the best. And I just want to get rid of the intensity of both of them, the boxing training and the kickboxing training. Andre, they were just giving me so much pressure, so much stress. No, you're not doing it good. Or, you motherfucker, there's nothing, it's not good. And not giving you compliments. And so, somehow it was good, but for me as a shy boy, with a low self-esteem, it was like, I'm not good. I'm going to fight. Yes, I'm going to fight. And then I need to show them that I'm strong. So that was the spirit. That was my power. Even though it looked different on television, it did look different. I looked so calm. I looked so imbalanced.
Yeah.
I was looking free. I was like, it was so easy, because did you ever saw me after a fight like tired?
Never.
No,
never.
I made sure I was in control.
Actually, you know what? What I remember about you, because trust me, I woke up many nights to see Andy Souwer, man. I remember in 2006, 7, 8, it was only K1, I mean, I was watching UFC, of course, and other MMA, and other kickboxing federations, of course, and boxing, of course. But K1 for me was fantastic. It was like superstars inside the ring. And you were one of my favorites And what I remember by that time, of course, I see videos today's, and I see your fights again and again, and I try to learn about your game. But what I remember, it was like, get inside, get the points, get the game, boom, outside. That was for me. A lot of low kicks, a lot of points. Please correct me on this, but you were never a hard puncher. Like you're not a knockout puncher. And I wanted to ask you why you didn't develop that thing, or maybe you try. Why you didn't be like, you know what, today my game is going to be just a knockout. I'm just going to chase that knockout.
I think that was one of the things I told myself also. I'm not a knockout puncher. I want to be a knockout puncher. Why I'm not like this? Years afterwards, I trained another fighter, a well-known fighter from Glory, Just Johnsy.
Mm-hmm.
He had the same problem. He always wanted to be a different guy. You know, I want to be a knockout puncher like Mike Tyson. I want to be fast as you. You know, and then I started realizing that I had the same problem in the time. I said, man, be yourself. Be aware of your own strengths, because if you don't do it, you know, you will stop growing. On the other hand, you could say, if you want to have more things, you're not stop growing. You're always open-minded to learn more and more. So, you know, I just wanted to tell him, be yourself. You know, be aware of yourself. Be your own fighter. That's who you are. You're already good. You're a professional. Eventually, we could bring him in Glory also.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought him in Glory, and he made big fights. Good. He fought the one of the biggest names. You know, he never became champion, unfortunately, but he always doubting himself. I think a lot of fighters do it. Not a lot of fighters speak about it. Maybe nowadays now, because we are more free to talk right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you know. But eventually, I won a lot of knockouts. Due my speed, my endurance, my stamina, but also reading my opponents. The strong point, people see me, hey, why you're always losing your first round? People thought I was losing the first round. Yeah, maybe on paper, right? Yeah, on paper, you know, but I was just reading them, feeling them, mainly feeling them. Because I felt their intensity. Everybody's tense before the fight, full of adrenaline. Yeah. Because if you go to war, in a real war with soldiers, if you are too relaxed and you get shooted, you know, and you don't have adrenaline, you don't care about dying. You know, it's the same with us with fighting. If you don't have adrenaline, you don't care to get hit. You know, so if you get hit, you're gonna lose. Yeah, why you are a fighter. So. Back to the question. It was like I wanted to be better, and I trained one punch. I knew that if I have one punch, because I want to be a heavy hitter, but I knew that my body wasn't ready for it. I couldn't be a heavy hitter, and my points were not trained like that. You know, I'm not trained to be a heavy hitter. But then my brain said I wanted to knock some guys out, you know. So with my boxing trainer, he developed he made me doing one punch, the so-called overhand. Mm-hmm. So I used it many times. I knocked a few guys out with it. I wobbled a lot of guys out, you know. And when somebody got wobbled, I was always punching a lot of volume with my hands, you know. And they broke eventually, so I won knockouts of it. So somehow I wasn't a heavy hitter, but my hands did a lot of work for me
definitely.
to
and
knock
your
guys
legs
out.
also, man. Like your legs also.
Yeah.
You're super famous for your low kicks.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I remember your fights were like annoying all the time. I mean, I remember what you said about the first round. On the first round, you're trying to read the game. Yeah. And you're not... A lot of famous fighters, they do that. I mean, Floyd was doing that in boxing. Mm-hmm. George St. Pierre was doing this. And it was a tactical moment, you know, for them. Anderson Silva was like that. Anderson Silva was like spending a round in the UFC doing nothing. People were like, boo, boo, boo. And Anderson was like, it's very hard to carry that belt. I know what I'm doing. So I remember your tactical game, and of course I remember your low kicks. I remember that you were annoying. You had a high stamina, a great puncher for me. I mean, and what I loved, I've seen many of your knockouts. There's a video actually that has many of them, of the knockouts. One of the most famous was with Michalis Zabidis, with Mike.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And of course, for us, it was very.
It was a high kick, not even a punch.
It was a high kick, man. It was very painful for us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Painful because we love Mike, and of course, it was very hard to watch.
Of course, man. Yeah. He's a big name.
He's a huge name. Yeah,
he did a lot for you guys, for the Greeks.
Yeah. Because Greece is not famous like Netherlands or Thailand.
As a martial arts country.
Yeah. And what Michalis did, what Mike did for this country is supernatural. Because, when he was fighting here and he was sparring here, it was nobody to spar.
Yeah, of course, yeah. He went to Holland, by the way. Huh?
Yeah.
I think he ever trained with Ramon or in Breda?
Ramon de Giers.
Yeah, he did, huh? Yeah. I think with also in Helmond, not at Nicky's place, but Nicky's at Holsken, but the other guys. I thought he trained. No, maybe I'm not sure, so I wouldn't name it.
Yeah, but you remember how hard puncher he was?
Yeah, man, he was.
With especially his hooks.
Oh, yeah. I realized before we fought, damn, I not wanna get hit with him. It feels like a truck, I think, because I saw the guys who knocked out by him. Whoa, they are really sleeping.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So. Coming back to your question with the low kicks and the first round, losing first round. On paper, I lost it maybe, but I was reading them and I felt their energy going down so heavily hard. I started immediately in the second round. I picked up the pace, and I went faster than they ever could. Mm-hmm. The only thing that what they have was their heart, their power,
Yeah.
Eventually broke. Coming back to your comments about Floyd, about Anderson Silva, don't forget that what I did was really riskful. If you look to Anderson, if you look to Floyd, they had 12 rounds. They could lose the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, even the sixth round, he could lose. Even Anderson Silva could lose 10 minutes. 2 rounds of his first fights. If he was fighting for the title shot, 5 rounds or 5 minutes, he could lose at least 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes.
He lost 22 minutes with what was it?
I'm really bad in names, but
I'm so bad in names also.
Me too. It's not because of the punch. Like I said, it was already.
He did the triangle at the last 10 seconds.
Yeah. Shall we think about it or
no?
Shall we find out?
I will find out.
Okay. So, and in my case, I just had 9 minutes in total to win the fight. So there were so many times in overall, I think I had the most extra rounds of all the K1 Max fighters. Mm-hmm. So I was always in an extra round. As also against Mike, as an extra round, because I was just losing the first round on paper. But in my opinion, I just felt the momentum until a certain point when I could kick in the door, that I would feel free. I was done reading. I was done interfering. I didn't do nothing. I was still doing my thing, a punch, a kick, interfering, surprising actions, to get them stuck to the, let them being aware of my surprise momentum.
Surprise them,
So it took a little bit more stamina, breath, oxygen from then, so I could start the second round. So I had 6 minutes to win my fights a lot of times. So that's why somehow the extra rounds
extra
came.
Rounds, yeah.
But it was stressful. It was a risky thing what I did.
It was very risky, because you didn't have the time.
No.
Yeah.
But somehow I
You
loved
manage it.
I loved it. I managed it. But also sometimes I was too late, because every time the next fight I said, "Oh, you know what? This is who I am. Everybody expect this from me, you know." So okay. So sometimes I was the first round losing again, and then the second round, yeah, I need to start again like I did my last fight, but or my opponent, or my mental healthness, or my mental position at the time, you know, wasn't as fat as the time before. Or my opponents also knew it, and they were still pressing me. I was too late to start up my second gear, or my 6th or 7th gear.
Yeah.
You know, it was not like 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. No, mainly it was like 1 2 in the first round, and then I started immediately at 5 or 6 in the second. You know, so that gap, sometimes it was okay, but sometimes I was starting too late to put the gear into the 5th or second gear.
Yeah.
You know, so I was a little bit too late sometimes. You know, so that cost me also a lot of things. Okay.
Yeah, I
I'm
found
gonna
the.
watch it.
Yeah, I found it. It was
name-
Charles Sonnen.
Got Chael Sonnen,
Yeah,
of
man.
course.
I love his
The
language,
wrestler.
man. Yeah. So, yeah, it was somewhere over here.
But you know what? It feels okay when the brain is in control. I can imagine talking about Mike. Mike, he was well known by his power, and he knew that too, you know. So he wanted to start early, also with his muscles, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the big muscles, your stamina. He's gonna get tired a little bit faster than I should do with my body.
Yeah.
You know, and
Here.
I think the same over there with
The
Anderson.
triangle, yeah.
He was knowing that a lot of fighters wanted to win from him. Why should he go into a fight
Yeah, put
and
your
brawl
arms
a
on it,
lot
yeah.
and take a lot of risk? Why don't have things clear in front of you and steering, moving?
A spider.
And trying to get the fight to you. If you go into war immediately like they wanted you to go, you know, then you make war, and then it's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
You know, it can go either way, or for you or for him. And if you're not a power puncher like Anderson is, like I am, why you should go to war for example, against Mike? Why should I go box with him? I'm gonna lose, especially in the beginning.
Don't play his game.
Yeah, of course. For example, I fought another boxer, Virgil Galacota.
Yeah.
I think I made approximately like 30, 40, 50 low kicks per round in 3 minutes. Can you understand? And even though they weren't all perfect or hard or crushing the upper thigh of the muscle, you know, I still was doing it just to let him think.
Yeah. Messing
And,
up with.
oh shit, I don't want to get hurt again on my legs, because these are the fundamentals of his body.
Yeah.
So if I could crash it, if I could hurt him on that, you know, his footwork is not strong enough anymore. He cannot move that well anymore. Therefore, he can't use his power anymore, because also the power is not only come from the arm, but from the full
the
body,
body, yeah.
but also from the legs, you know. Without legs, you don't have power. So that was the idea about it, you know, against a boxer. You know what? And eventually I win from a boxer like Mike, even though it was with a kick, but I also won from a punch against Galacota, against a former world champion of boxing. It has to be said that Galacota, he was really strong. He didn't care about my low kicks, you know.
He didn't, huh?
Yeah, man. But in that year, by the way, that tournament, by the way, how many low kicks I made? Not unbelievable. My shins, my ankles, my ligaments, everything was fucked up. You know, it's so swollen up. First Virgil tactic was low kicks. Can you imagine using low kicks in the first fight of a tournament while you are a champion?
Wow. And you go to the locker rooms after, and you're like, I cannot even walk, and I have to go up again.
When the other goes down, you can't walk anymore.
Oh yeah.
So I had a good coach like Andre and Paul, and a good Ryan, a good physio, a strength trainer, and a nutrition. They were there. They were working for me like crazy. You know?
It was a great
getting
team.
me heating up. You know, don't calm down. Don't lose your temperature. Keep it warm. You know, and they were doing well. And then I needed to fight against Masato. You know, and I knew, you know, boxing. He had the same style as me a bit. You know, boxing, combining it with kicks. The kicks weren't that good, you know, but, you know, also low kicks, because I was taking advantage of it because the attention of my opponents went to the legs. And nobody liked to get kicked on the leg. We can handle it once. We can handle it two. And with our level, we can handle it for 10, 15 low kicks. You know, but when you get hurt eventually, and when it's hurt, and when the brain is only alarming and noticing that there is the pain, you know, I'm for 40, 50, 60%, I'm busy with the pain. Busy with the fact that I don't want to get hit on the legs again.
Yeah.
You know, and then eventually you get kicked again. Like, oh, then you're going to break. Eventually, everybody's going to break. You know? And that high-level skilled fighters, they also broke.
Yeah.
Even Masato, while he was so strong mentally, you know? And he didn't really broke, but he broke. So I made so many low kicks also, you know? Also, again, I didn't want him to box because, don't forget, he was a heavy puncher too, heavy hitter.
And Masato Kobayashi was a legend in Japan. Was a legend. Everyone was like, he's gonna knock out Andy Souwer. But when you fight with him, you chop his leg.
Yeah,
you know,
especially in our second fight.
Yeah,
but I was a bit lucky, and even though I was lucky, I still made it because I only made low kicks in that fight. In our first fight in 2006. I punched also a bit, you know, but in our second fight in 2007 in the finals.
No, before his retirement.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking, no, that was our third fight because we fought third in 2009 at Dynamite event.
Oh yeah.
And then I lost, and the second fight was like I was happy with Buakaw. Because they fought each other in the first round. And he kicked his ass also, his legs. He was chopping his low kick really heavy. His second fight, he didn't got kicked on his legs too much. And I think I can't remember who he fought. But I met him in the finals eventually. And I know he was hurt on his legs again.
Yeah.
And I was chopping and I was kicking and I was doing a lot. Only focusing on his kicks. Maybe one punch or maybe... At the max, I punched 2 punches and then a low kick again. Only low kicks, because I want to win the title. And only technically, I wasn't stupid. I knew I could win from him by hitting me on his legs. And he didn't went down. And then in the end of the second round, I think, God damn, man. If I still need to fight like this one more round, maybe the Japanese gonna let me lose. Man, shit. And there was a moment that we stuck to each other after a short brawl, you know, and we got close to each other. And I had some sneaky momentums every time, you know, because, you know, the will to win has to be there.
Yeah, you're a warrior,
I was sneaky. So just before the ref said break, I was already busy with bringing my hip backwards and bringing my knee forwards in a close distance, not even half distance, just we are connecting each other. I brought him backwards and I made a sneaky knee on his upper thigh, you know, and that broke him.
Yeah, because that was a point also.
Yeah, he wasn't aware of it because we were so close to each other that the ref needs to come in between to break us up, you know, and to let the fight continue again. But the moment he knew the ref is gonna break, maybe he was already hearing, but I was already on my way, and he was relaxing a bit, you know, and it was already swollen, it was already blue and red, and then I hit him. And then he broke, and you saw him limping, and like, and that was the moment he broke, and then I kicked him afterwards, or maybe one or two, and then the bell rang, and then he didn't came back out of his corner for the third round. So it's okay, even though that moment was that moment was a breakup. That was a breakup moment because the ref was already, and my hip was going back, poof, you know, in the break, and it made him a knee. What is not an There's an allowing knee, allowing momentum, allowing technique, but it was not in the fight itself. Of course, it was in the fight, but it was at the sneaky momentum.
Yeah.
So that's how I broke him, you know. So coming back to the story about, you know, Zambidi's Mike boxing. Why should I box with better boxing than me? Eventually, but because of the tactics that I took, I could knock boxers out with their own strengths. You know, so
use vice versa against them. Like you know, attack them with attack fire with fire. Yeah.
Why should I against Buakaw? Why should I go
On
for
low
kicks with
kick.
him?
Oh man.
Why?
You don't do that.
No, you don't even have to try. I don't want to try.
Yeah.
You know.
How was the experience, man?
That was a big experience
I
too.
mean,
You know.
the Buakaw kicking you the.
It was a trilogy, right?
Yeah.
You know, and to be honest, with a lot of fighters, I could stuck to the tactics that we trained before, or we just spoke about, because we couldn't train all the tactics in a tournament way, because you could expect a few kind of fighters, you know, but it wasn't sure of that. We weren't sure of that we could fight certain fighters. We only noticed, or we knew who was the first opponent, you know, and then in the bracket, maybe we could fight a taller guy like Kishenko or like a Masato, you know, or we could fight like we could meet Mike, for example, a way smaller, a boxer, or the other typical fighters, you know. So we only made tactics for the first fighter, for first opponent.
And then a few hours before the game.
Yeah, and we made a new tactic for the second opponent, you know. But yeah, I think the quality of from me was, I could anticipate, you know. I could anticipate on every kind of fight. It was even though if you hear it, adjust. Yeah, even though if you hear it, don't box against a boxer, but kick against a boxer. Don't kick against a kicker, but box against a kicker. It sounds easy. In theory, it's easy, you know. But to adjust it and do it, that's the difficult part. Going back to the story of Buakaw, you know, I was always thinking, shit, man, how I'm gonna handle this. I always said that, you know, guys, it's as my father also knew, we go for a certain system. We try to attack. That's the first one of the pillars of our system. We try to attack. If not, if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel good of it, okay, let the guy attack you. Maybe you're not in the mood yet. You're not focused yet. You just get wobbled. You just get hit or whatever. You can attack maybe, but be aware of your balance, be aware of the positioning, you know, and be able and be ready to counter. So the second option is to go on fight counterattacks, fight on counterattacks. The third one is not a particular tactic, but if the quality is good enough, if you developed and experienced enough, you also can interfere your opponents.
How?
And that's the most beautiful part of it, and the most difficult part of it is when you're trying to hit me, I'm gonna hit you earlier than you hitting me.
Okay.
So you're starting up first, but I see it coming.
Yeah, you're reading the opponent.
Yes, that's the moment. If you feel it, it's about feeling, and also about the focus. You can't feel without focus, and the opposite, vice versa. And that's the most difficult part, to surprise your opponent. And even with an interfering in the interruption, you also can knock somebody out, you know, but also can hurt him and surprising him. And that's really difficult, because if you do it once or two, for example, with a kick on the leg, I can't knock you out immediately, right? With one kick, I can't knock you out, you know, with on the leg, you know. Okay. But every time, if you think you can hit me, you attack me with your jab. To start with your jab, for your attack, you know, you get kicked on the leg, boom, boom. The first you can handle, like we just talked about, you know. But eventually, it's gonna help you out to get
some confidence, win some points,
and doing your own thing,
and break his own confidence. You know, like, because he has it's like a splitting game of confidence.
Exactly.
If I continue earning points, your brain is like, God damn it, he's fast. I have to change. God damn it, I have to change.
And then you stop thinking. Then you stop doing playing your own fight, your own game. And like the jab, you know, if I'm countering, interfering you with an overhand, I'll knock you out, like I did it with a few opponents. Yeah, you know. So it's also, but that's difficult. And like I said, it's for a certain level.
Especially with Buakaw, man. How do you become fast at the Buakaw?
That's difficult. So going back to Buakaw, it was like the third one was interfering, and fourth is just giving your spirit. What's your spirit? Don't think too much about attacking or countering or interfering. Just go for it, you know, using pressure, handle, parry, defend the front kicks, handle the mid kicks, the push kicks, and go for the pressure and try to box with him instead of kicking. But the problem was, of course, with Buakaw, if you're on a full distance, you get manhandled by kicks, push kicks, teeps, mid kicks on your arms, high kicks. And when I was there eventually on half distance, where I could do my own thing, boxing and putting pressure on him, it was grabbing, clinching, and fucking you up with clinching.
Yeah.
So that was so difficult, and that awareness, you know, that knowledge before the fight, it's like, shit, man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Tell me. Yeah, pressuring in the hope he gets tired of it, you know.
Yeah.
So sometimes it was not only reading and getting stuck in it, not stuck, just using a kind of tactic. It was sometimes only go ahead. The real problem I had with one fight, and that was the only because, you know, with Buakaw, it was like a break even always. Sometimes I was a bit lucky, but besides that, it was like still like this. The best in a certain discipline, Muay Thai, and the best in Dutch kickboxing to each other. It's always like this. It can be a really nice fight, but also can be a nasty, ugly. For maybe also for the watchers, like
painful, man.
Painful fight. But Petrosian was a guy. That guy is so easy. He's looking easy, by the way. So many people ask me, what is so difficult with Petrosian? And he's not.
I had the same question.
He's doing nothing. What he does with one kick, one punch, and when you get close to the distance, he makes a knee. It's like Buakaw. Only Buakaw is faster and more explosive. He looks better. His appearance is he looks good. And Petrosian is like, his mimic is like, he's
super smooth.
Smooth, but that's it. Why is he so difficult? And that's the story. That's the footwork part he does. The momentums, the creations, the eye coordination is like, he feels you come, poof, and you're dead. Oh, stop. He doesn't let you get into your tactic. Yeah. You know? And I think I was smart.
He's breaking your game?
Yeah, I think I was smart. I could adjust, like we just talked about. But against him, I couldn't. This has to be said. When I fought him the second time, it was in the final. I was already fucked up and broke by Buakaw. I didn't deserve the fight after 3 rounds. The Japanese let me win, so I could go to an extra round in the hope I could win that fight. So maybe I could win the whole tournament. So by the way, this is my opinion, by the way. It's not just, I'm not sure of it. But they just want to have the trilogy, the third fight against Masato, because Masato was not participating in the tournament in 2009. The only thing he said, you know what? I'm going to retire. I'm going to fight the champion. And he lost twice. He never lost from a guy besides Buakaw once. Yeah. And he won from him also, by the way. So it was... But for the Japanese, it was the storytelling to get me in the finals and trying to win the tournament. So possibly Masato could fight me. Yeah.
Take the revenge.
Yeah, but to be honest, after 3 rounds, Buakaw won, and the judges gave me the win. The extra round, and the extra round was still bad, you know. But I was just pressuring number 4, using my fighting spirit, using a lot of pressure, and so I won. To eventually meet Petrosian, but he already won his first fight against Japanese Yamamoto in the first round with a knockout. And eventually I met him, and I was already fucked up for the 4 rounds. I was broke. To be honest, everybody has a story, you know. When you win, you don't tell these kind of stories. But my both trainers, the assistant Paul and my head trainer, head coach Andre, they were in an argument the weeks before the fight. I didn't knew it, so that was a good thing. They didn't tell me.
They didn't tell you anything.
They didn't want to influence me, but. Because they had a bad connection and bad energy, I was also into myself, you know. I was going deeper and deeper in my brain, and more doubts, a lot of guilt besides
a lot of demons surrounding you.
Lots of, you know. And then Eventually, I even forgot my groin cup. I never forgot it. And you know what? In Japan, they have live shows. So it was a live broadcast on television. So when I came into the ring, they checked me. Oh, no groin cup. Fuck, what is happening? So can you imagine that nobody was aware of it? And usually you get checked before you go into the fight. And it was like it has to be. It was this thing happens just because it was meant for it, you know?
Yeah.
I couldn't win. So I wasn't strong, I wasn't fit. So the second fight against Petrosian, I got manhandled also. And also in that fight, you know, I couldn't, because we fought earlier in our first fight. I think I deserved a little bit more, but I was fighting against him in Milan, in his hometown, even in an extra round, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, the extra round, it was like break even, but I was the guy who was pressuring. It was a lot of going backwards, clean hits was from both sides. But I lost. In that case, you could say that was a real fight. But our second fight in that final in 2009, there was nothing. The only thing I had left is the option of 4. Showing my spirit, you know, showing who I am. The
Go
warrior
freestyle.
I even made crazy backflips. I call it kicks.
I remember that.
It's, I think it doesn't has a name, but in Taekwondo they call it panda, tuchaki, or I don't know, but something in between.
Yeah, double flip.
I was turning myself around. I would even fall down on the ground because there was
like
so
a Shaolin. I told you before.
Like
exactly.
Yes.
Butterfly.
Kind of that kicks, you know, without control and just hoping to hit something to eventually win. So I always tell my boys also, you know, if you don't know what to do, go hard and see where it ends, you know, go for it. So don't put yourself in a corner or put yourself in the shadow and get manhandled, you know, go for it. Die with a big heart. How do you call it in English? There's an English saying for it.
Yeah, die with the pride, man.
Die with your pride instead of being a pussy.
Yeah.
You know?
Because after that, you don't want to remember yourself being on the corner or on the ropes. And the other guy, you know, he's like...
You don't remember. You're already knowing it. On the moment you take that positioning in...
It's like giving up.
And that moment, I have it too. That's my experience too.
Mm.
And two fights, I was the warrior. I was the samurai. There was one fight after my MMA period of 2.5, 3 years. I came back to kickboxing, and they asked me, "Hey Andy, do you want to come back to kickboxing?" I'm not sure, man. I do like MMA, but I'm losing too much fights right now because they don't care who I'm fighting because I didn't get built up in my MMA period, in my MMA career. And I think, oh shit, okay, so MMA is not a thing for me also because I'm losing. You know, I did 5 fights, I won 2, and I lost 3. After, of course, it's normal because I was fighting my second fight, for example, against a former UFC fighter, Darren Cruikshank.
Yeah.
You know, 24 MMA pro fights, black belt, second division wrestler, and not to forget his MMA experience at 14 fights or something in UFC. Yeah. It was my second.
He was a hard puncher also.
A good striker, you know, and he handled me on the ground, and he was aware of my no skill.
He was tactical. He was.
And I thought, you know what I thought? So, man, I'm good, man. I'm defending his attacks, you know. I'm so good. And he was just feeling okay.
Oh, yeah.
What's your level? Show me what you can.
I'm going to play with you.
Yeah,
I'm going to play with you.
And then suddenly there was an arm. And I saw the lights like here, you know, like, and they were smaller, getting smaller.
I choke you.
And I told myself and a few people, I said, you know what? If there is a possibility that I got choked out, I'm gonna leave that world for that momentum. Yeah. On the momentum it happened, I said, smallest one. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I'm gonna tap.
Yeah, but I was going to ask you actually. Go ahead.
Going back to the story, you know, when my last fight against Marat, I hadn't spirit anymore. You know, I did for different reasons. I needed to continue fighting, and I just did it. And you know what? I was laying on the ground. You know, fuck it.
Yeah.
So that thing we just spoke about being pride, and don't see yourself as a pussy afterwards because you made a decision to let you get manhandled by your opponents. I was always like, that's not gonna happen to me. This is not who I am. But I did it twice. So, for example, against Mara. But that's the momentum when the
maybe sometimes you need to know the right time when to stop, or maybe sometimes you're like, you have some doubts. Sometimes somebody comes and he gives you a high payment for a big organization, and you're like, you know what, I'm going for the check. And it's not bad at all, man. You're professional.
Exactly.
You're professional. It's like asking me to travel to go to the other side of the world and do that job. It's a job. It's not because people think like it's only emotions. It's not only emotions. Sometimes you act like a professional. I don't want to do it, or maybe I'm okay to do it, but I'm just going over there for the check, and it's okay with it.
Yeah.
From all those opponents you fought through the years, from young age till last 2 years, who was the most vicious one that you remember and you said, you know what, I will never forget this thing, man. I was in a great experience. Like, for example, because nobody punched me harder, nobody did this.
It's a mainstream answer probably, but every big fights are not. I can't remember a lot of fights, by the way, that in detail, but I do realize or remember a few fights in a positive and negative way, like Petrosian. I didn't have any answer. I was missing. I was lacking speed, energy in a way of feeling his body, feeling the whole thing. You know, and that not feeling, that's really vulnerable. It's so you feel so weak. But the other part of it, whereby seeing everything before things happening, kind of matrix experience. That I have experienced against Masato, the first fight. I was fighting against Kalakora. I just told you, and then I needed to have the second fight against Masato, and I was already hoping for the fight against Masato. But everybody wanted to fight Masato. Everybody, because he was the man, like you told. Like you told. He was the man. And of course, in the interviews, in the newspapers, and in the magazine, he was like, go stand in the line. There's so many people who wants to fight me because I'm the man. And he was right, and that he took me realizing, man, whatever happens in my career, I need to fight against you. He said, we've seen you in 2003. We saw you manhandled by Albert, and a second fight against Marama, because I fought twice in 2003. These were my opportunities for K1 to prove myself, to show myself. I said, we saw you fighting, man. It was nothing, man. You're not of our league. You're just a simple fighter, So that was also a motivation.
I was feeding you. Oh.
Exactly. So there was the seed planted, and then I had my opportunity against Masato in the second fight of the tournament of 2006. But yeah, man, I had a tough fight. My legs were fucked up. My eye was swollen because the boxer Kalakoda, he knocked me down. So I was also really swollen up. But it doesn't matter, because then the greediness and the power that you have, the desire that you have to fight him was so strong, and I fought at him. And then talking about memorizing, I can't remember, because I was so far away in my brain, in my focus. I was so far away. I woke up when I was standing next to the ref, like, wow. And then my hand went pull up. I think, wow, they let me win from Masato. They let me win. So I was so happy, and I would feel the energy inside. But like I said, I was always in control, right?
Yeah.
You didn't saw my mimic. You don't
no
see
emotions.
anything.
You don't see emotions,
But in this, I was giving so much. There was so much pride and so much happiness and so much luck that I've experienced, And I was so happy with it, that they let me win, you know, no, I did it, but you know how my brain was working, you know, I won from him, you know, I always talk to my boys and to my students also, you know, there are certain ways of levels in focus, and for me it works like five chambers. Yeah, the first chamber is like, I always comparing it to when you go to work out, and in our case maybe you're jiu-jitsu right now, huh? For us kickboxing, when you go into the gym and you are aware of everything, you know, and you're gonna dress yourself up, doing your bandage, you know, your hands wrapped, and putting it, and you start doing the warm-up, you know, you're still aware of thoughts, so many thoughts, and you are aware of people who are still coming in to train also with you. You say hi, hello, how are you, had a good day today? Okay, you see the new girl over there with the big bunda, you know, oh nice, huh? So you're aware, you're still yourself, you know, from that day. After the warm-up, or halfway the warm-up, oh, you feel your heartbeat going up. Oh shit, oh, I need to control my heartbeat. So you're focusing more on your breath, you know, because you feel that you're going high. You don't want to get like this, you know. So you're trying to control. You are getting already your tunnel vision a little bit smaller. Your sight is going to be, in my case, this is my case, this is my story. So then you're already going into the second chamber of focus, you know. You just bring the story back to my own experience and our experience when you do kickboxing. Then you're warm. You're really warm. You're sweating a bit, you know. Or you feel it already. Okay, you're getting into the mood. You're just passing the part of you're already getting into control of your breath, right?
Yeah.
And then you're putting your gloves on. You're doing your shin guards on, and then you're gonna drill, or you do some technical part, or you're gonna drill, and then we have to connect to each other. Because when we are not in good connection, you can't focus. But if we can go together in that connection, because we are well trained on the same level, of course, it would be different when the level is really low and I'm, for example, really high. Then we can connect. So the third chamber, I can go in with these guys. But if the level is okay, or even better, you know, you're getting in the focus. Yeah, wow. You start realizing I'm with you. I'm only with you, Sanitos. We are together. And we got speed. Oh, you're faster than me. I need to faster than you. Oh, you're giving up because I see it. And, you know, I don't want to give up. You know, then you get in the third chamber. You know, together.
The mental part.
The mental part, of course, but also the physical part, because you're
controlling
not, your. You're not aware of your heartbeat, or you are. So that's the line in between.
The thin line between the two of them.
Yeah, you know. So and then you suddenly hear the beep. Oh yeah, you're still aware of the time. Right? In the third part, because you're connecting in there. You get tired, I get tired, but I want to be better to you. Okay, but looking to the clock or something, you know, okay, still a few seconds left. Let me do one more time. So I'm aware of time. I'm still aware of momentum here. Yeah. Then you have the fourth chamber in my head, how it works. Fourth chamber for sparring. There is no time to think about what you've done that day. There is no time of being aware of the fight you made with your wife or whatever on your work or whatever, you know. We need to spar. The only thing you have is your opponent in front of you, even though it's your friend, even though it's your training partner. Hey, listen up. I don't want to get hit, so I'm full of adrenaline. I need to stand right. I need to do the things my coach is expecting from me, and of course, from myself. What do I expect from myself? I want to win this round by, I give myself a few assignments, you know, to follow up, to have a great round. Or eventually on the end of training, to have a great sparring. Yeah. You know, so I could give myself a few advantages and motivations and a good feeling. But still then, there is a moment, if we go hard or if we go, are we dying? Not in particularly as with hard going, knocking out each other, but just going deep with each other, you know, like combinations and building up the attacks, and if the attacks works or not, because he's good, so I need to think about a new strategy, or I need to move left or right away, you know, if I need to change my positioning in southpaw, whatever. I just got hurt, you know. you're all also a little bit in your unconscious aware of it, you know, and you're still a little bit aware of the time, you know, because I'm now really tired. I just get hurt, you know. I hope it's almost done, and then the beep goes, and then you have the fifth chamber. My fifth chamber is where you don't being aware of time. When you're seeing before you're giving the jab, I already know that you're giving the jab. When I'm there, then it's like I just told you, Matrix, you know, I'm in different dimension. I'm already feeling, I'm already knowing that you're gonna kick me with your right leg. And I know it's gonna be a low kick instead of a high kick. If you are there, I experienced like 25 times, and the most strongest one was against Masato. That one fight. Again, after Calacoda, our first fight in 2006. There I was just doing the things, not aware of time, not aware of pain, not aware of being tired, just into the game, just being there, just being
focus on the thing,
being everything.
So how do you develop that thing? I mean, that last chamber, can I have it at the whole fight? Did you try to, or it comes by itself?
You know what? After the ring bells, you go. There's okay. The ref is coming in between, so you need to go to in the corner, but you're still in that. There's
excitement, adrenaline.
A lot of things are happening in your brain, right? You also know there's happening, and it isn't the way in that 1 second. You're still in that focus. So I can't remember the coaching and the assignment that my coaches gave me. You know, I just woke up literally unconscious when my hand pulled up by the ref that I was the winner. I think, shit. Okay, now I'm out of the fifth level, out of the fifth room. You know, I'm out of it. You know, and then excitement came because then you're conscious of the feelings and like, wow. But you know what? Then I went to the dressing room. I'm still happy, still full of adrenaline, so happy, so full of excitement, and I gave everything.
Yeah,
everything. So there was so much happiness, you know. Wow. And then Andre was like, taking me on the shoulder, Andy, go sit down. We need to fight Buakaw. Buakaw just won. Oh fuck me.
Oh man.
Buakaw.
How do you manage that?
Yeah. Did he win? How did he win? Okay. Whoa, fuck. And then I start realizing, shit. Okay, and I need to get back in that momentum, focus, going down, putting some blankets on my whole body and especially on my legs because I used a lot of low kicks against Masato.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, oh fuck, so many pain, man. How damn. So I was a little bit moving my ankles, my feet. Oh, damn, I can't walk. So then the doubts came. I said, oh, Andre, Paul, shall we put some eyes on it? And after the eyes, it's good. So many doubts, a lot of stress. You know what? And I was walking, and we always did a warm-up, you know, and I said, Andre, I can warm up, man. I said, okay, keep yourself warm, keep moving your upper body a little bit, and we go into it. Because luckily, there was a short time. Sometimes it was more than an hour for waiting to fight your second fight in a tournament. But it was a short time, in my opinion. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe the time was as equal as usual. But in my opinion, because I was so focused and out of the focus, so the time went so fast. I remember I still got it hot. It was hot. I didn't want to wear my shirt. I didn't want to wear my.
You didn't want to do it, man. You didn't want to do it.
Yeah. I was only diving, and I felt the pain and the pain, but also the stiffness. I was so stiff in everything. Yeah. The whole body was so tired. And you know what? And then the music came, my entrance, you know, and I was always dancing at the time. Not dancing, jumping more. It was not dancing. It was more jumping. Like
you didn't dance that day.
If you can look it back,
maybe I'll find it.
Maybe.
Is it the first fight with Buakaw?
It was our second
fight
in 2006. And I was trying to jump. So the first movement I make to jump, I realized, fuck, because you know what? Music gives you energy. Music gives you rhythm.
It gives you the rhythm.
Music gives you emotions.
Yeah.
So when I felt my music, I think, oh yes, no, that's not a conscious yes, but it was like, okay, that was also a pattern that I have when the music starts. Boom, jumping, moving. You get in the mood like a warrior, you know, like I'm gonna go into a war, so let's go for it, you know, because all the excitement and adrenaline makes you move, you know. It's like I feel with music, I want to dance, you know, I want to move, you know. So also in this case, it was
before, but
it isn't the entrance.
Dude, I loved when you entrance and the Japanese guy was like, Andy Souwer!
Yeah. So I was moving and I couldn't move, and I was like through my knees, go walk, and I just, oh shit, I need to be active, because when he sees it, I'm fucked, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know what? My brain was like here. You see my eyes so swollen up.
Yeah.
Another extra comment that I want to make. Exactly 1 week later, I married my wife.
After this fight.
I was so fucked up.
Dude.
And you know what? I came
Wife must be so happy, huh? But that's what this.
So, you know, the only thing I had left was a little bit blue and the red blood in my
inside
of
my
the
eye.
eye. Yeah, so the white was,
damn it.
The white was red.
Dude.
Yeah. I was full of doubts.
My.
I'm going to handle you. How am I going to move? And you know what? In my opinion, I was moving. I think, oh, I'm looking bad now. Oh, shit, I have no speed. I cannot move. It feels so bad. Oh, I'm going to lose. And if I watch it back right now again, because I didn't see this fight back for a long time, it still looks good somehow, even though it's a final fight. Yeah, I even kick with a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So I'm in the focus, but there was a big voice who was telling me, oh, there's pain. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'll be honest, if I look it back, it still looks good, man.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe
you see it?
Maybe this fight was not against Buakaw, man. This fight was against yourself. Against yourself, man. You know, Buakaw is just a shadow. Yeah. It's just a huge shadow. But you know what? It's just those fights that you give yourself all the time, man. That you have to be better. You have to be. You don't have to show any of weakness. Yeah. Great fight, man. What a great fight.
Yeah, you see, it's still pressuring. And I thought, you know...
Nobody understands anything here.
No, and even though you know, probably his coaches and his team already were checking me up, how I was.
Yeah.
You know, you of course, you know, what we also did, one of our Japanese friends, you know, so, hey, go passing that dressing room, you know, see how he looks, how they are reacting. So they already knew how fucked up I was, but you know, I didn't show up. But in my opinion, I felt like, you know, I'm so weak, so slow. I look terrible. But you know, I thought also I lost this round so heavily. I even didn't lose this round. So what happened in the second? That was the problem, mainly because of my focus. Because I thought I was so looking back. I was just finding, to be honest. Maybe an excuse. Yeah, you can name it like that. Yeah, I was just finding an excuse to say, hey, I just got hit by his head or something hard. What isn't allowed. Yeah. On the moment I was looking to the side, boom. So that was the mistake. Yeah, it cost me my title. Yeah, it cost me. If I should won this one, of course, I was the only one who could. Say that he was a triple champion of K1 Max.
Yeah,
the only one.
Yeah, the only one actually. And you know, I was going to ask you, did you feel? How did you feel when you won the K1 championships twice? And how did you feel when you lost? I mean, like, what were the emotions?
Good.
Satisfaction was okay.
Losing. Get rid of the stress. Now I can.
Party
can party also, but now I can work again to become a champion again.
Yeah, so it's giving you a drive again and again.
The normal drive. What do you feel? What do you do when you're a champion? Yeah, everybody is just pulling you, trying to pull you down. You know, come on, you know, and it's more likely
Yeah.
for me fun to be the champion because there is a reason, big reason.
Yeah.
But when you promise yourself and the people that you're the best, why keep promising? It's not a conscious thought,
Mhm.
you know, but I felt better in an underdog position than being.
Oh yeah,
being
yeah.
the-
Because the pressure of
Yeah.
holding that, what I told you before, the pressure of holding a belt or a trophy.
He's holding with his head. He's holding my arm like
Yeah, he loves you, man. He
wants
loves
to
you.
He wants to get
Yeah.
choked.
Yeah, that dog is amazing, man. That dog
But
is just.
he's
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He's a
But
good
he likes
boy.
to hug and how do you call it? Hugging.
Hug, yeah, he's
Yeah,
hugging you. He's hugging you with many ways.
Yeah.
He's trying to show you that, you know what, I like you. I want to show you my love, but I want you to show me my you know your
Give me some love back.
give me
please.
some love, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
for free. It's not
Hey.
for free.
Hey, how was young Andy Souwer after the fight? Going home, you had kids at a young age.
Yeah.
You got married. How was that dude behind the cameras, behind the fights?
Yeah, the guy over there who is so in control, even though within a few minutes I'm not in control
Yeah.
because I got knocked out. The fighter in control, the power, the strength that I have had and I showed, you know, to myself and to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that guy.
You were not.
I wasn't that guy after the fights. In between, I was just a puppet who would like to party, to get rid of all the intensity and to put all my energy in partying and friends and just to get rid of the intensity, you know. And the most easiest part is then the alcohol, you know. You don't have to think and just to get in the relaxation. Many people around you, you know, who are giving you compliments and feeding you all positive things. That's what you think at the
Yeah.
moment, you know, positive. You're the man, you're the best.
Everyone
and
loves
the
me.
top. Yeah, everyone is loving me again. Exactly. But yeah, that fucks you up eventually, you know,
Yeah.
for years. So, hoe zeg je roofbouw in het Engels? Roofbouw. It's
Well-
like killing your body all the time by training, stressing for the fights. And in between, in the
Partying.
fights, you're partying, you're fucking your body up again. But also the mental part of it. Because the alcohol doesn't work in an
Yeah, you
advantage.
cannot do an alcohol therapy. You
Yeah.
cannot do. That's what I said to a lot of my friends in the car in the COVID-19
Mhm.
when everything was like, you know, you couldn't go anywhere. You cannot stay at the house and drink a bottle of wine
Nah.
and have this COVID-19 in your brain and everything that how am I gonna work? My kids, are we gonna stay alive? And a lot of my friends were fucked up by
Yeah.
drinking.
I can imagine. They are still maybe,
Yeah.
if they are not strong and hard enough.
Yeah.
Because then you get taken by the devil. And it's really difficult to
Mess you up, man.
Yeah, man.
Mess you up.
Yeah. So,
So-
yeah.
It
I
took
fucked
you many
with-
years, huh, to
Oh yeah,
realize this?
for a couple of years ago, I realized it. But you know, if it's a pattern, you know, it's really difficult. You know,
Mm.
talking about addictions. You know, it is an addiction, and not last 10 years. I didn't drink every weekend, every month. But when I go for the extreme part. You know, it's like fighting. Also, that's
Mm.
who I am. It's my correct. That's
All or nothing, huh?
all or nothing.
Yeah.
I'm strong.
Balls
I'm
out.
heavy.
Yeah.
Why should I drink 2 bottles of beer?
Yeah.
For what?
What am I gonna earn? with
What
it?
gonna earn? Nothing. Go to the max. Go crazy. Let myself go. You know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I realized I stopped. So I don't drink anymore.
Was it hard for your people, the loved ones, like your wife, your parents, your wife's parents, to see that young person? Do they understand you? I mean, was it like let the guy relax. He needs to relax. He has to experience.
Yeah, the people who loves me, you know, they see that boy still. They see the human being. It's like the fighter Andy, from a young age, he developed. He became a person, you know. But the boy, the human being Andy, didn't develop. The only thing I needed is where Andy Souwer, the fighter, the reptile brain, the impulsive guy, you know, the fast guy, the guy who wanted to be liked by everybody, you know, who didn't dare say no to anybody because he wanted to be everybody. He wanted to be liked. He wanted to be
a yes
loved.
man, a nice guy.
Yes man.
Yeah,
nice, just being a nice guy, you know, open guy, answering everybody. Whoa, that tough guy, that world champion. Hey, he gives me a great feeling. That's what I wanted to be, you know. And yeah, you forget yourself. But the people who loves me, they realize that I was, and maybe there should be a moment then he could be the guy who they wanted to see. And of course they saw it already for years, because it was not only partying every day or something, you know. But stopping with the bad habits, it's been done now, and I feel it also. I realize, you know, now you can grow, you know. Even though I'm 40, maybe a bit too late. I don't see it as being late. It's just
late of what?
Momentum, you know. Yeah, but being the fighter, the fighter I was, you know, as a fighter, but the human being next to that, it was just a little boy.
Yeah,
just a teenager. You know, he just wanted to scream, and in a bad way, he wanted to have attention. You know, somehow, and love. That's the only thing I was trying to reach out for, but I didn't have the right or the good way, the good example or something, you know. But yeah, we can phone our wife maybe to gives you some more examples.
Well, I have a third mic, and we can bring her over.
Oh
here,
yeah,
and,
if
know,
you want.
she would love to speak about you, man, through the years.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be fun because she is so funny. She's so funny.
Yeah.
I heard it a lot, but she's so funny, so good, and you know, you always hear it. It's the same story. After every great strong man, there's a bigger, stronger woman.
Women are strong, man. They're twice or 3 times stronger than men.
Unbelievable. We're talking about health, mental things, you know.
Yeah.
Like every month they have that problem. They have to bring up, grow. Like your wife is pregnant right now.
Yeah.
Look what she have, all their hormones, shit, you know.
Dude, if I had to have a baby coming out of my body in a week, I would be messed up, and I would be like, oh man, I was sitting with my friends over there, but I cannot believe, man, in 1 week I have to shit the kid out of. Yeah, and the wife is like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do some work. Do some, you know,
cleaning up the house.
Cleaning up the house.
Yeah. I'm gonna take care of the bills. I'm gonna take care of the living of the sleeping room of the kid. I'll take care of the program, the designing. You know, they do everything.
They do
my
everything.
Wife,
Yeah. I mean, for me, if we want to talk about luck, you have to be lucky. It's not only luck. I mean, you have to. You want to choose the right person, but it's luck because it's through the years. What you see the first 2-3 weeks, that's where guys, you know, get fucked up. Because at the beginning you're like, I'm fucking in love this girl. We just met in Las Vegas,
she's
man.
So handsome.
Yeah.
Look what
she
I
was
have.
a stripper, but she loves me. And then you realize, dude, she didn't love you.
Exactly.
You know?
She was just there for.
Yeah, she wanted just to take off your wallet, man.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I think I was lucky in this case in a way of, because I was just going hard, just doing my thing, and suddenly she came into, man, but I went in love.
Yeah.
So much. Oh, unbelievable strong. I was so in love. Unbelievable. And she was there, and she didn't want to have me, by the way. Yeah. She was a little bit younger than me, a few years, and I thought I was a tough guy. I needed that girl. I didn't know she was younger than me, by the way, but eventually I forced her almost to get a relationship with me. So, and then I heard it so many times afterwards, you know, and she's still with me.
Yeah.
God damn. And it's kind of luck, but eventually it's also a thing. I think it happens.
Yeah.
It has to be like this, you know?
Yeah. Well, of course, man. Of course, they're very strong, and whoever thinks that he can do it by itself, well, that's a lie, guys. That's a big lie. Do you say those kind of things to your kids today? Like, do you give them the advices that you maybe didn't had before?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, my oldest son is already he become 19 in December. So he was really strong involved in my career. So all the bad things happened after my fights, for example, or before my fights, my preparations, the stress. My wife always said, you know what? Before the fight, you were a tough guy, or not a tough guy, but it was pretty difficult in house, you know, because everything needed to be arranged for you, but also your habits and your everything had to be arranged, but also your up and down feelings, you know,
the roller coaster,
the roller coaster you had before. But she said, you know, before the fight, it was tough for us.
Yeah.
But after the fight, it was hell. So they constantly lived, and my oldest one he's sensitive, you know. So he saw too many things, in my opinion. But that boy is more. Tommy, the guy, my fighter over here, my student here, he trained with him, and he didn't train that much, but he is so well skilled. He has so potential, but I think he didn't want to go through the things I've been through.
He didn't.
Yeah. So I almost forced him to be the same as me, you know, because I couldn't talk. By the way, you know, now I can talk. As you notice, maybe I can talk about feelings. I can talk about everything, but in the time I couldn't talk. You know, I was always pressuring, and I took him with me a lot. By the way, to my fights from Japan to other countries in Holland. He was there always. So he felt also a lot of stress, you know.
Do you agree with that? I mean, you already did it. So, because I see a lot of kids today, especially at the UFC or the Bellator or, you know, any other organization, the kids, like, you see his dad getting knocked out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wouldn't recommend anybody.
Yeah.
Unless the kid is so open-minded, is so free, and even though he sees his dad knocked out, he can laugh. Without different amount, but that's not possible.
It's impossible.
I wouldn't advise anybody to do it.
I mean, when Usman fought the English guy, God damn it, I forgot.
For example, Adesanya now against Pereira, also with the kids.
Of course, with the kids, and the kids are like screaming, "Oh my God! Like I'm losing. My dad is, you know, it's not that he's losing." It's the way
the worst thing you can see, in my opinion, as a little kid, is seeing your greatest hero, even bigger than Superman, even better. The dad is, you know what? Even though my dad pushed me so hard, he was really hard for me. Really, I hated him. I really hated him. I was still able to wear his coats, even though it was not from my time, because I was a teenager. I was wearing his old man coats. You know, just
to
he
get
looked
the feeling.
strong. He looked good. He was a tough guy, you know, but he was so hard. He couldn't communicate. No, he was always screaming. I needed to. He forced me to being competitive, to make something out of your life, you know. So he was always saying, "No, this is not good. It must be better. This is not good. It must be better," you know. And I thought, you know, I have my kid on a really young age. It wasn't planned. You know, and then I was a dad again. Somehow I became dad because after 3 months we realized that my wife was pregnant. And they grow up, you know, and then you wanted to give him the right things, but you're in a fight, stress modus all the time, and partying modus. You know, you don't have a great dad experience and how do you call it?
Experiences,
you know. And the other thing you can do is also screaming. And when he became older, also, you know, when he did something wrong, you know, oh shit. And then afterwards I was
Becoming my own dad.
I realized what did I do, man? This is not normal. And every time I make the same mistake, you know. But yeah, it was my dad, you know. I didn't learn how to communicate on a proper way, on a good way.
You know what I think? Sometimes it's like, you know, the voices that you hear. I believe that the voices you hear is your DNA voices. Like what I want to say is that my dad was very hard with me as well, but he was not giving me any motivation. He was pushing me. He wasn't accepting any mistakes. But by that time, I was like, man, I wish this guy, you know, I wanted him to give me a hug, but it was impossible. We spent years, 25 years, and after to my dad to hug me. So for me, it was very hard because for me, he was Superman, but on the other side, he was rough. You know, through the years, I did things like you said, and it was like, where did this come from, man? Where did this come from? That's not me. Or maybe it is me. Shit, my dad used to do that.
Yeah.
And those voices, it was like my DNA was like wanted to come out. But I was fighting I just wanted to kick the thing out.
Yeah.
I didn't want that thing in my life. I saw it and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the advantages thing, the good things from my dad or from my mom. We were like amazing people. They raised us very well, but by that time, at the 80s and 90s, it was the only way was to scream at you.
Yeah.
And what?
And go for welfare, because the 90s, the world gets richer, people get richer.
Yeah.
You need to be rich because then you're, so the competition, you know, you need to be something.
The Gucci and the Pradas, that's it. That was a life in 90s and 2000s.
And our dads, our parents didn't, besides the moms, because the moms, you become dad for the first time, right?
Yeah.
There's so much love as a dad, and vice versa. But comparing to a mother, again, it's not tougher for them in this case. Also, they are a precious.
And the connection they have inside.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable. But in that time, the dads needed to work hard. They had a dad probably who were hard for them, you know, and those shit, go work hard. There were no emotions after the war or in the wartime, you know.
Yeah.
So somehow you can't blame them. Your dad, my dad. I can't blame them. I can't say it now, but in the time I hated him. I even wished him dead sometimes because I didn't want to train sometimes. I was making excuses. He said, okay, then you stay home. So I just wanted to play outside with my friends. I just want to be a kid. When he punished me for 2 weeks. So you have a house arrest for 2 weeks. All my friends, you know, they just when they get some punishment, a half day inside, or they took something from them, you know. And for me, it's just 2 weeks inside and training again. It's like isolating. The house. Yeah. So my mom, of course, as a mom do, hey, go outside for an hour. Make sure you're in. Going back.
Better be back in an hour.
Because 4:30. Yeah, 4:30. Dad is coming. Home,
Hurricane is at the house.
Yeah. So it's always, you know, playing around, but that's okay. You know, I understand. I understand him. You know, it was hard for him too. He didn't have a dad when he was 8. He lost his dad when he was 8. So I can understand that his blood. He wanted to be something instead of being like him, just a painter.
Yeah,
you know, just a painter. And but yeah, then again, it hurt us somehow. And in our case, I think we came better eventually.
Yeah, this is podcast. You know Terry Crews? He's an actor. United States. He's from the United States. He's a black dude. He's you know this White Chicks. Do you remember White Chicks?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the dude?
Both the smallest or the big guy?
The big guy with the muscles. They have muscles on top of the muscles.
With the
dancing and everything.
Yeah.
That dude is one of my favorite actors.
What's his name again?
Terry Crews.
Yeah,
super famous, and he was at the Brooklyn Nine-Nine series, a Netflix series, a comedy series. Anyhow, Terry Crews, man, he says there's this podcast. I'm gonna send it to you, and he he says the story of his father, that they grew up, in a bad neighborhood in the 60s or 70s. And his dad, he was always punching his mom in front of him and his brother. Every day. His dad was alcoholic. His mom was like a super religious woman. So that thing was like nitrogen and dynamite together.
Yeah.
So Terry Crews, man, he explains the whole story. He says the whole story and how he couldn't forget his dad. He hated him. He said, I wish he died many times. And when he grew up, he became Terry Crews. He became famous and everything. So one time, for Christmas, I think Terry Crews has like 5 daughters, something like that. Poor guy.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So they invited his parents and he said, look, Dad, my kids, they don't know anything about violence. So do not do anything here in front of them. You and my mom, you're old people right now. Me and my wife, we're going to go to we have to go somewhere. So they went, they left the house and they called them after 1 hour and they're like, Mr. Crews, you have to come back. Your dad beat your mom so bad in front of your kids. So they went back. He called his brother. Terry Crews called his brother. And he's like, come at the house right now. So they went to the house. He saw his dad. His dad was like, it's like nothing. Nothing happened. He was fucked up drink. He's drunk. His mom, her tooth was sideways.
Oh,
like,
shit.
He broke her tooth. And she was crying over there. It's like, Mom, it's okay. Go upstairs. Wife, go upstairs. Take the kids with you. So he gets into the room.
Bang.
Bam. And he hit him so bad. Then his brother comes. See, they hit him together so bad. They took everything out of them. So what happened? The guy was like over there. He was bleeding. He was like, please stop hitting me. Please. I'm not going to do it again. And he says, and he cries when he says those things.
Yeah.
I mean, Terry Crews is like, I felt nothing. I thought that so many years.
Relieving.
Yeah, I'm just going to take everything I just need a chance, motherfucker. I'm just going to train, do whatever I have to do to protect my family and my mother with you, And I said, you know what? I became one of him.
Yeah.
I became one of him.
Yeah.
So that's a great story. I'm going to send it to you, man. I heard that story so many times. So
I noticed the same, I was not hurting. My dad gave me some punishment, something not that tough or hard.
Yeah.
It was hard for my mom. He was drinking every weekend also, but, similar story, but not that heavy. I know he did some heavy things to my mom, but it's difficult then, Somehow you think, you don't do the same thing like your dad. You have people who do the same or do the opposite like Terry did.
Yeah.
He wasn't violent.
Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't say I was violent, but I was really with community. I was really hard, no, you have to do this, or else you don't become like my dad.
Yeah. The words I said before, like your DNA is coming up. Yeah.
So there was my wife coming in.
Yeah.
My wife helped me a lot. She's so relaxed.
Yeah.
She's a Libra,
Yeah.
Maybe something has to do with that.
Yeah.
Always finding the balance. So she's really.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet her today evening.
Yeah,
man.
Sure.
Hey, listen. When this question comes from any fighter around the world, which is, what does it make an athlete a champion, and what does a champion makes him a multi-champion?
Yeah, it's
Tommy can ask that, of course, or any other guy around the world,
Yeah. Ask him too later on.
But
for now, there are so many words to try to explain it. But I think Muhammad Ali had the right word. There was a whole saying of it, but the desire to be something in this world, with a good intention. you know, like the Japanese do with their ichikai, you know, the purpose of life. You know, what do you feel? I just did it for a lot of other people. You know, it started with my dad. When my dad fell away, I thought, shit, I can't lose this image anymore.
Yeah.
I want to be it's so simple to be Andy Souwer, the fighter. So the motivation will be, oh yeah, the guy to put my ego, to fill my ego with it, you know, eventually, or expectation from other people. What can I do else besides fighting, you know? So I was always busy to find reason to do something that I didn't love, you know? So the purpose of life, I'm right now in the middle of it, you know? Just what's my purpose of life? You know what I'm doing here? What I'm good at it. You know, of course I know that I was good at fighting. I'm good in telling how fights, in my case, in my style, how it has to be shown, how it has to be trained well with methods and things like that. You know what, as a human being, what I'm doing here, man? What was my desire in that time? Was it a good desire? Yeah, somehow, you know. It was a great experience, I can tell you now, but on the road too, it was pretty heavy. You know, but I think the Japanese are right. Just trying to find out what is the reason you wake up every morning.
Yeah.
There are so many reasons, by the way, yeah? But where is the happiness? Where can you get happy from?
Yeah, to
You know,
create a passion.
So if there is the passion for Tommy to be a world champion, or to recognize, how do you call it? To be a multiple champion, what is the reason behind it? Are you okay with that? Is that the reason you want to train hard? Is that the reason you want to hurt yourself? That's the thing. If you ask me, yeah, I just wanted to fill my ego up, and just would always explain it like this. But since I realized a couple of years ago, I wanted to be the Noxukow. I would just want to be my own movie.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be that movie star. You know, I wanted to be the champion that people loved, that he fought good, that he was so well skilled. And I did it. I just did it. So that's why I can be happy talking about my career and not being always, how do you call it? Self-made leider.
Self-made?
Pity.
Oh, pity.
Feeling pity for myself.
Oh,
you know,
okay. Yeah.
But it was so tough. You know, of course I'm talking about it was tough and all the stress it was for me, for my family, and things like that. But also can say it was the part of it to realize who I am right now. You know, and to realize that I can be more than only a fighter. You know, I'm a good guy, man. I'm a really good guy. You know, I'm trying to put that energy back to my kids. They feeling it, to my wife and to the rest of the world, who I can help. That's the thing. That's what I feel. Being a helpful guy to others.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
sharing my experience.
You are a nervous person, man. I was, you know, in the beginning when you speak with somebody on the phone, and you're like, I don't know what I'm expecting here. So maybe it's a guy who's like, who is this? Okay, call me later, or just a second, and then
that's a stigma, I think, for fighters.
Yeah,
They have to be tough. They have to act tough.
Well, you know what? With fighters, I have a language to communicate. I'm not talking about the fight. I just understand them better. And if they're down or up, I can manage to understand them.
And adjust.
But I love their mentality in general. But when we spoke, I was like, this dude is like so friendly. He's one of us.
Is that a fighter?
Is that a fighter?
He needs to be tough, man. His voice. Is he a pussy?
Oh, man. So today, do you have a desire today after becoming a fighter? Like today, what's your passion for the rest of the year?
Today, I was really excited for this podcast. Told me he needs to go to the weigh-ins, my student. So that's gonna be excited.
Yeah,
I hear it takes 4 hours, so I'm expecting to be there and to be at the entourage over there.
Yeah, we're gonna be together, and tomorrow we're gonna just to talk about the WKS, the World Cage Series. That's the main event And I want you to tell me something about this, because we're going to do the broadcasting tomorrow, which is going to be a pay-per-view live in the United States. And this is in Athens. For people who don't know, this is in Christmas Theater. It's going to be tomorrow night. Of course, the people who's going to see the podcast is going to be uploaded next week. But tell me some things about this.
Yeah, WKS. How did it happen? How did it went an idea?
Yeah.
Like 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago, a guy from New York contacted me, and he asked me to do a seminar in his gym. Now, so to make a long story a little bit shorter, so I went over there. It was a really small gym, and Colombian American guy, Jonathan Paul Ruiz, and he was really nice. So nice. I think, damn, man, you could be a friend of mine. You know, he's so calmed down, and he was talking about his karate experience and background, and how he started his gym, and how he was struggling over there in America. You know, it's pretty tough over there, especially in New York. And but I just did my seminars. But he said, you know what, take your wife with me, with you and your kids. So I think, okay, wow. So with expectations, no one just to get me over there alone by myself, or else the costs are going sky high. So, but he just did it, you know, and he hired a big apartment for me, you know, too much. It was too much. But I thought, okay, American dream.
Yeah.
Has to be always over the top. So the next year after that, you know, I thanked him for him. It was a great experience. And a year later, he said, hey, do you want to come again? I said, yeah, why not? I said, okay, business-wise, it's interesting for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went a couple times, and then somehow I didn't sleep in a big apartment anymore or in a big hotel anymore. Yeah. I was sleeping at his home, at his place, with his former wife and 4 kids. 3 kids, by the way, because the 4th kid lived somewhere else. And we started dreaming a bit, you know, because you know, when you're inside somebody's home, he made the door open for you to who he is.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, and I'm like that too, you know. That's what you're just saying, you know. And so we connect really hard, and we start thinking about, okay, when I can do a seminar over here, why we can't do it with other legends, bigger legends, not bigger legends, but more legends. So I said, yeah, so we can call it a super seminar, super seminar. So more legends on one event, on one weekend. So we start trying to realize that. So we had a company in super seminars. So we had like from one weekend with Dwayne Ludwig, Bas Rutten, the Machida, Liam Harrison.
Machida? Leo the Machida?
Chinzo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So his little brother, he fought Bellator.
Okay.
And me, of course, and a few other legends in the past. And like Lutze came, you know. We had 5, 6 seminars in a time. So 3 years ago or something, we also start thinking about having an own promotion, you know. And I said, yeah, man, that's too big, and I just were in a bad position at that time, you know, and that's why I told you I kept on fighting in one championship. I said, let's start slowly, you know, and let's put it in the refrigerator, and maybe the idea of the 100,000 ideas that everybody has in his life, we put it over there, you know. But yeah, last year we said, okay, let's give it a try. You know, with your students in New York, close to your place, make it ourselves a little bit easy. Invite other fighters and start small. You know, start inviting amateurs. You know, so we can be small, we can stay small, and we can grow with them. You know, so not a lot of pressure, just a little bit of freedom. People want to excited when they see Andy Souwer because I put my name and my face on it. You know. And we try to promote kickboxing again. Promoting kickboxing a little bit like the K1 days. Because that's the thing that I notice, and that I, being aware of it, that everybody who I'm speaking with, of course they recognize me from the former K1 era, K1 Max era, and the K1.
Yeah.
And they're always speaking, of course, not the new generation, but the former, the old generation, wow, the K1 Max, that was so nice, and it never came back again. That excitement, the fights by itself, the fighters, the storytelling behind it, the magical thing about that, it never came back. What is that? Why? What's the reason for that? I think there are many reasons. There is not one thing to blame, or there's no one people who has the guilt of everything, you know, in many cases, not only in this case. So I was thinking, yeah, man, that's true, man. I know I'm not getting excited from the fights nowadays. If I ask Tommy, for example, he said, I'm loving it. Glory is so great, so fun, so excited, you know, and all the other promotion, he said, I like it too, you know. But the old generation, the 30-plus generation, always talking about the K1. I said, okay, to my friend Jonathan, I said, John, so let's do it, and then with the K1 rules. You know, formal K1 rules, and to put the old K1 style a little bit more back. Because nowadays, they're too fancy, or they are boxing a lot.
To protect themselves.
So, you know,
they keep a distance.
Yeah. They are so aware of who they are as a fighter, you know. They are so protective in a way of they don't dare to give everything somehow. So that's why there are no tournaments anymore. You know, now they do a tournament again at Glory. Is there an 8-man tournament or a 4-man?
Tonight is a 4-man and later
8. So they are also, even Glory thinks now, shit, man, what is happening, you know? We don't see the real power anymore, what it was.
Yeah.
So we got spoiled a bit in the time by the tournaments and things like that. And it all left. So everybody, the people who experienced it, they missing the Grand Prix, the qualifications, the toughness from fighters, the difference in different disciplines. We just talked about in the beginning of the podcast about Mike.
Yeah.
You know, he was a boxer, Buakaw. He's one of the best Thai boxers ever, and developed him also as a K1 fighter. You know. They had me, for example, a guy who could control and could combine a lot of things, and who was intelligent, like Petrosian. There were so many skills. Drago, Sato, you name them, Masato.
Even from the USA, from Carlos Condit.
Carlos Condit. I fought Carlos Condit also in shoot boxing.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Ludwig from America, of course, with his affiliate program. He's a good friend of mine.
Albert Kraus
as a kickboxer, Dutch kickboxer, but it was a boxer, to be honest. You know, he is mainly well known by his boxing skills. There was and other Dutch fighters, you know, with all around the globe. And what you always could see, there were 16 fighters every year, and they went to 8, and there was still new blood coming in. You know, but always the champions stood grounded. You know, they were always in the last 8 final. You know, so, and there were always new blood. And some of the new bloods, just a few of it, they came into the top 10 from now, from now, like Ishenko. He was just a guy. He never won the championship, but he was the guy who could win. He could win one of them. So there were always new blood people could think of, oh shit, this could be a possible new champion. So that made it also exciting. By the way, make it excited. At that time, we didn't have pay-per-view. If you want to see the event tonight in Glory,
there was no YouTube.
We see it. There was no YouTube. There was no. So the magical thing, what is happening over there in Tokyo? Who are they? How do the fights go eventually? You know, who's gonna win? So the thoughts, the brain is. They were so overwhelmed and spoiling with thoughts, you know, and that made it more exciting. Now we're so spoiled.
Yeah.
Watching television. Oh, there we go. Left hook, right. So
are you talking about kickboxing? Still kickboxing, right?
Yeah. The magical thing is a little bit gone of it. So that's why I thought, talked to John. I said, let's give it a little try to give the amateurs the idea that they can be tough by playing tournaments, to fight tournaments. Again, like the K1 old days, you know, with the rule setting of it, you know. So let's start with amateurs.
Let's bring back the magic.
Yeah. Let's. But we train their toughness also with it, you know. So they don't have to be pussies anymore when they are already professional
Yeah.
at the time, you know. So that's one of the reasons that I said, let's give it a try. So we started our first event in America. We did a few more afterwards, and now we do our first event in Europe. Not even in my own country, but in Greece.
Yeah.
As I have a lot of contacts, of course, around the globe, a big network. Like after our first events, like it was crashing my inbox especially in Instagram. People, former friends who I have met also in seminars, who were trainers or promoters already in their own country, asked me, "Hey Andy, can we work together somehow?" So then I realized, hey, maybe we can bring it to a bigger scale. You know, the people I know, and when they are good, when I have good contact with it, you know, solid guys, you know, if they are already promoting, why we can share already our WKS, because we didn't found a name yet. What should we name it? World Kickboxing Series. Yeah, I think it's a good one. It wasn't my idea, by the way. It was Jonathan's idea. I said, yeah, I have the network. I have the face. I have the experience as a fighter. You know, why we don't use my network? You know, if they already promoters, why we don't spread the kickboxing thoughts where I am thinking of that kickboxing has to be, how it has to be played. Why we don't do? We try it, and just using my network. So then Janice came to me in my inbox. We talked about it, and they were pretty accurate. Not accurate. They were pretty. How do you call it in English?
You want to say it in...
Yeah, the Dutch saying is also difficult. Yeah, but they were like, okay, we're done it. This is our past. This is our experience. This is what we want to do, and this is how we're gonna work. They were solid. So let's give it a try. So that's how tomorrow is gonna happen.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job, man.
I think so, man. But
they're very organized.
Well organized.
And Giannis is a super professional guy.
Yeah, I know him for a long time. You know, I see his gym. You know, good fighters. I think is because of that, he has a big knowledge also about the Greek fighters who are participating.
Yeah.
So I think it only can be spectacular.
Yeah, and it's going to be pay-per-view, right? In the United States only. Right now.
Yeah, but you can see it everywhere.
You can, and you can watch it after. Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, and you know what? I have an own gym, and I brought one of my students.
Yeah.
I don't have that much fighters, you know, but one of the fighters said, let's go to Greece.
Yeah, I can't wait to...
I'll give you a present.
Yeah, see him, see you fighting tomorrow, man. Good luck with everything. And I think it's going to be a good tournament.
So, coming back to Greece,
yeah,
that's how it started, you know. And hopefully Greece have some big talents. And the most important thing to tell, why do we do tournaments? Because we want to have winners. We want to have champions. After they become champion of the tournament, they go into in a bracket or in a loting, drawing, you know. And because next year we're gonna have a big tournament, and the winner of that will become a pro.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make country champions. I'm gonna bring them, and the main goal so far now is that we are working together with Princess Boats, where we're also gonna do this year a big super seminar on the boat and
the Caribbean.
of deck on the Caribbean, because the Princess Boats have their own private islands. We're also gonna do an event on that. For now, this year, 15th July to the 23rd of July, me, Anissa, Maxen, and Regan van Issel are already the legends we're gonna teach. We have a full week of entertainment, training schedule, different trainers, a lot of entertainment, like I said, and also an event. But the this year winners of the tournaments, because we do one in Holland, probably one in Germany, all these Brazil, the winners going to the next year on the same event on the boat. They're gonna fight against each other. All the winners in one tournament, and the winner of that will become the next pro on in our organization. So now we are an amateur, also as an organization. But next year we're gonna have our first pro,
Perfect.
our own fighter, and then we're gonna also invite more fighters out of the globe
Yeah.
to participate on our events all around the globe. So probably next year in Greece, we also have again new tournaments, but also like we do now have more pro fighters. But the pro fighters, we're gonna help them out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give my advice. I'm gonna have my kind of coaching, second coach besides their own coach, of course.
Yeah, man. You should do that. Do that. Bring back the excitement on kickboxing. Bring back the good old kickboxing. Create the myths. People loves, because we talk about sports, and we always forget the entertainment behind it. The people who pay over there to get a ticket or a pay-per-view, they want to see some action.
Exactly.
They want to see some, fire. They want to see war.
Exactly.
They want to see war. They don't want to see like just another fight. I don't care about another fight. I just want to see war.
Exactly.
I want to see
Question
the best.
for you, Senatos. Question for you.
Yeah. Should
Where do you get excited of? Because we are so spoiled. What do you want to see? Talking about kickboxing, especially.
What I want to see?
Because we can see everywhere kickboxing. We can see the comparisons between kickboxing now and then, of course, but also the differences. But what do you want to see?
I'll tell you. Look, when I started watching K1, it was I remember we were playing a soccer game, and a friend of mine came in. He was like, "You should watch this K1 Max in Japan." I was like, "Why?" Because the best of the world, from all around the world, they got together, and they fight the fuck out of them. I mean, they fight like maniacs. That's it.
Do you get the same excitement as Tommy has, for example? Because he said, that tournament is going to be fireworks, man.
I mean, you mean tomorrow?
Yeah, for Glory, for example.
Of course.
Do you have the same excitement?
I do. I mean, I'm going to be next of the ring, and, we're going to do the...
Oh, tomorrow in Greece, the Greek event. But, for example, the high standard Glory events. Do you like it?
I would love to see them fighting in a big, huge boat.
Yeah, that's
cruising all around the world and be like, bam!
It's like Fight Island. What's the movie from the past again? Not Bloodsport, but the other one, Kumite.
Yeah, or Enter the Dragon with Bruce
or the
Lee.
Island.
Yeah,
that's also a bit comparative. But I want to tell you, and that's where I am just aiming for that question I just asked you, is I think we still can learn from the K1.
Yeah.
Not only K1, from the Japanese. They were so good, strong in storytelling. And of course, in that time, where storytelling was excitement. That was that magical thing we had that your friend said, "Oh man, you need to see this new organization or that kickboxing fight that the best of the world are fighting each other." That excitement. We're gonna try to get that back. Excitement with people, with all the spoiled people we have in the world right now. Yeah, because you can see watch pay-per-view, UFC, Glory, all these sports we can see, but we want a little bit being a little bit different by storytelling. Storytelling we still need to develop because we are amateur. So
I can help you with it because I give you an advice. If you give me a good story behind each fighter, oh man, you mess up with my head.
Yeah.
Can you tell me that, for example, Tommy, he went through hell and he had these 1,000 things and he finally, look, I'll tell you a story how he ended up fighting today.
Yeah, saving his life.
Shit, man. But you're not saying a lie. I mean, it's not WWE.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just taking the story and just say it correct.
Exactly.
You're creating content for him. Yeah. And he's a superstar before he enters the fight. I mean, for example, you fight, for example, let's say a Japanese guy. And this Japanese guy, he was like, he's a master. He can, you know, and you're like, oh man, he's gonna kill him. You never saw him fighting. He's like, he's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
You know, you're messing up with people's head because at the end of the day, it's not a sport. It's entertainment. A sport is for the two guys who are fighting each other.
For them. Yeah.
For us, it's entertainment. You're giving me excitement. You're giving me drama. You give me happiness, or you give me sadness because the person who I bet or said that
Cheering
you know,
for?
cheering for,
Lost.
That's it.
That's
That's
a
it.
pity. But that's emotion.
Yeah.
And that's sports. You know, we love it.
Emotional content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tommy, do you feel it?
Are you ready, man? All right, man. You wanna turn this thing off? I think we did it 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Okay.
So
I think he's shaking and I'm sitting like, oh.
You can move.
Oh, you know the.
Oh, man,
it's
so sorry.
strong. I need to be here also for the voice.
Yeah.
Also, but you know
So
what?
you're like
He
kind of
deserve-
like long.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Hey man, thanks for coming.
Okay, man. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Nope.
It was a great experience, and I hope Zulucast explodes.
I hope
Because
so too.
the questions, the guy who you are, it's not only questioning, it's not interviewing, it's talking. It's talking about life. What do we have?
Yeah.
Time in life.
Time in life.
Time in our life. So we have a good time. We had a good time.
You know what? Thank you for saying this actually. And you know what's the name of? I already have the title because I remember you said that one time. You said if I ever have a book in my life, I'm gonna name it Andy Souwer, Living on the Edge.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the title. I'm gonna steal this from you to this podcast.
I know. Can I watch over there?
Yeah, sure.
So Corey and Josh, Corey Sandhagen,
Yeah.
a friend of mine, UFC fighter, Josh Johnson, and Glory fighter. They always said to me, man, guy, dude, you're living on the edge, bro.
Andy Souwer,
Yes.
you're a fucking legend, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being so much. Thank you so much, and for being who you are.
Yeah, thank you too.
You were a
man.
true inspiration, not only a fighter but just a human being.
Us.
Osh. Thanks.
Zulucast.
Yep. Andy Souwer!
Zo, ben je ook wakker? Oh.